who did we play next? We played Coca at Coca.
Right.
And had a win there. Interesting sort of sideline there. The new arena down at Coca, which is beautiful, and had a chance to. Actually, Newberry women's basketball played the first official game, because our tournament in that arena. And
you're undefeated there.
Yeah, and it was funny because at the time we were 3-0 in the arena in Coca. Women who played their conference, and they got beat twice, and then we beat them. They were 0-3. so yeah, we were 3-0 in the new building, and they were 0-3. So I don't know how they're going since, but so that was good. And then we came home and played Brevard and had a nice win against Brevard, and then went and beat Catawba at Catawba, which was good. So 3 conference wins. And then this last weekend went on the road to Indiana and played in a tournament, a Thanksgiving Classic out there.
A couple of patsies out in Indiana. That's a little bit of that's kind of the home of basketball, if you will.
Yeah, we played at one team from Indiana and the other one was from Louisville, Kentucky. We played Bellarmine, who's a perennial power in Division II basketball on both the men's and women's side, and Southern Indiana, who's won national championships and been to the Elite Eight, on both the women's and men's side.
Well, now, let me ask you this, because I'm thinking about this today. Number one, you're talking about bonding on the road, so you had a chance to do that. It was Thanksgiving weekend, so you had a chance to take the girls on a trip to a really good place to play basketball and to get them tournament ready. I'm sure that's what was in your mind.
Yeah, it was good because you need to, if you're going to win the conference tournament, or if you're lucky enough to get to the regional and you're going to win the regional, or if you're lucky enough to get to the Elite Eight and win the whole thing, at some point in time, you've got to win 2 games back-to-back days. And obviously the conference tournament's our first priority. So, it's good to get those Saturday, Sunday games in early, so you've played them. And unfortunately, in Indiana, we really had a chance to win the first game and probably, really, to be honest with you, blew it. And that was good for us because we hadn't done that all year.
Yeah.
And sometimes you make some mistakes and you do some things and some shots don't go and you miss an assignment and something's going to happen and, the game kind of falls apart in the last couple of seconds, which it did. And, we still had a chance to win that game with about 6 seconds. We drew up a play and got a last-second shot, and it was a good-looking shot and didn't go down. And, we missed a layup, at the 14-second mark, which would have put us up by 2 or 1. And, we didn't block out on a missed foul shot, and they got a rebound and a stick back when we were up by 1 with about 28 seconds left.
Right.
So, and then the second day we came out, that was against Bellarmine, who are a good team. Then the second day we came out and played Southern Indiana, who's really good.
Southern Indiana University.
Yeah. And, that's what they hosted the event. And, good program, good team. And we actually played quite well. The girls were tired. We had some kids who weren't feeling well, a bit under the weather with this kind of, head cold and that kind of stuff. But kids played well, and it was a pretty tight game up until about the 8-minute mark, to be honest, and maybe a little bit, maybe to about 6 minutes, and then they really shot the ball well in the second half, and they kind of got away from us, and we struggled. We didn't shoot the ball well at all, and that game I think ended up being about a 20-point game, but the other, it really probably wasn't a 20-point game to be realistic. So it was a good weekend for us from that standpoint. We kind of got exposed a little bit in some areas that we hadn't seen ourselves, and you don't want to ever lose a game, but it's good to learn some things. I think you probably lose more when you learn more.
And you probably accomplished a few things you wanted to accomplish, even though you didn't win.
Oh, yeah, it was good, and just to go out there and see some different teams. And it's out of region,
right?
So they're losses to teams that are going to have winning records, which doesn't hurt you too bad, and it's on the road, and plus it's out of region. So, and you want to go and see how good you are, because, hopefully we're good enough to compete for a conference tournament, and hopefully, if you're good enough, you can play outside your region. And it's interesting to see what else is out there, and obviously, like you said, you get a chance to go, and I had a chance to coach in Kentucky for a couple of years before I came here, and I have connections out there, and it's the basketball at high school. Joanna Tincher played her high school basketball, and my assistant in Indiana. So
2 hotbeds of basketball.
Oh yeah, so so it was fun, and we played in a really nice arena and all that kind of stuff. But it was definitely a challenge as well. So it was good, and the kids, they stuck together, and I think we're closer as a group. We've learned a lot about ourselves, and we're excited about the game Saturday.
All right, let me give you the scores here for those folks listening. 79-57, you beat Belmont Abbey in that first game. 76-67 over Limestone. Both of those teams went to the NCAA tournament last year. Then you beat Coker 67-58, Brevard 76-49, Catawba on the road 72-64. Bellarmine is the loss 63-58, then Southern Indiana 70-49. Let's talk about Anderson a little bit. The Newberry men and women have had some history with this Anderson group of teams. It seems like they always come to play, and a lot of times we have to play extra minutes.
Yeah, I'm not going to say. I mean, I'm looking around for some wood to touch, and there isn't any. But it hasn't gone that way on the women's side. I mean, when I first got this job about 7 years ago, I mean, we scheduled Anderson because it was a game you were going to win.
Yeah, they weren't in the conference.
Yeah, and they only played in another league, but it was you could go down. We played them home and home, and we beat up on them for a couple of years, and then they made the move into our league and have gradually got better. And the last couple of 3 years, we haven't won down there. We beat them here, but we haven't beat them down there. And they've gone on and actually, not last year, but 2 years before they won the league. The coach got another job and left. They've got a new coach in who's doing a good job with them. And a lot of the same core nucleus of the kids, and a lot of them are seniors now. Right. They don't have big stars, but they have really good players, and they're really well coached. And they play a really good style. In my opinion, they play a really good style of basketball offensively and take good shots. And they've got some kids who can really shoot the ball. So it's going to be a challenge. I mean, they're really good. They won again last night. They played Brevard, so I think they're like 5-1 or 4-1. The only loss they've had has been to Limestone,
right? And
they're 3-0 in league play. So they're a good basketball team, really well coached. They're going to come in here. We got a bit of a target on our back, like we always have, but particularly this year, I think people have been pretty impressed with the play of our team early, and we've had 2 players of the week, first 2 weeks, and that kind of stuff. So I mean, we're not sneaking up on anybody, and it'll be a challenge. It should be a good game of basketball. I mean, if you like basketball and you love to see fundamental, solid basketball with teams that are going to make shots and make plays and play good defense and make good basketball decisions, I think you're going to.
Yeah, it should be a fun day at Newberry College's Elias Arena, starting at 2:00 on Saturday with the women's game, and then the men's game to follow at 4. They certainly have a history of going into overtime with Anderson. I think I've spent 2 days over there for one game at one point. But at any rate, we'll talk about that in a minute. But 2 and 4 on Saturday. You mentioned some of the players of the week. Let's talk about Samantha Creed. She's back, of course, and what a welcome return we've seen with her. She's had a great year so far.
Yeah, she's a good player. A really, really good player, and she's unfortunately missed the vast majority of last year with a knee injury, but was able to get that year. So technically she's a junior,
right?
So she actually could come back. She's close to graduating, so we'd love to keep her here for another year. And but she's a tremendous player. She's one of the best players in the league. I have no hesitation in saying, in my experience, and I've been in this country coaching for 15 odd years, close to 15 years, and at the Division 2 level, and she's an all-American type player.
I agree.
I mean, she's a tremendous player, and does a lot of things. Shoots the ball well, but she's she leads us in assists, and she's good off the dribble, and she defensively she's not fantastic, but I mean when she sets her mind to it, she's pretty good. She rebounds the ball decent, but she's just a game changer, and a playmaker. So it's really good, and it's loosened things up for us. Obviously, Haley Lapeo, had a tremendous first couple of games, and she was Player of the Week in the first week, and she had a couple of games where she didn't score as many points as she normally does and get as many rebounds, but had quite a decent weekend up in Indiana and is playing a lot better. And but she makes it. She doesn't have to score a point. She changes the game for us defensively. She's such a good ring protector, and she's everybody's helper on defense, and she's a really good rebounder. So I mean, so you've got her, and we've got a little more shooting on the floor this year, and we're a little deeper. We've made a bit of a change at the point guard position. We have a freshman.
You've got some new faces. I was going to say.
Nicola Hendrick, who's playing the point for us, and averaging around 10 points, and started the season really good. And I think like a lot of freshmen do, after about 3 games, people start to see the film and be like, okay, now they're prepared for us. So she's struggled a little bit the last couple of games, but she is really, really a fantastic player. I don't know if there'd be a better freshman in the league than her, and she's changed the way we play because she can score a little bit that point guard position. J.S. Schultz, a transfer from Pepperdine University, he's still only a sophomore. She's really given us a bit more athleticism in that 4 position. She's long and works as hard as any kid I've ever coached, and she has quite a good skill set. So a couple of other kids, and like Emily Perry, who's a junior now. She's playing really, really well, and even kids like Caitlin Pahokli, who started at the point guard this year, is coming off the bench, and her numbers in half the time are probably the same as what she was putting up last year. So we're getting production out of more kids. We're a little deeper, and hopefully we can continue. We've got a couple of kids injured waiting to come back too, which will give us a bit more size when they're back. So
yeah, it's going to be fun to watch because, as you said, you've only had that one home game so far. So we're looking forward to Saturday with Anderson. Let's talk about the ranking in the D2 side of Southeast poll that came out just yesterday. I think it was your number 3. Fellow conference member Carson Newman is number 1, Columbus State 2. Limestone, North Georgia, Newberry tied for 3. Belmont Abbey, you've already taken them down there 6. Clayton State is number 7 in that poll. Anderson, your opponent this week, is number 8. Lincoln Memorial, another opponent, is number 9. And Emmanuel out of Georgia, number 10.
I mean, these things are fun. I think they had a national poll too, and I think we were ranked in that. I think we were 11th in that last week. They don't mean anything other than the fact that they're kind of fun and we can talk about them and all that kind of stuff, and it's
they're
cool.
Good for us.
Yeah, the fans, and it's cool when you're in them. When you're not in them, they're rubbish. But
right.
I mean, no, they're good. I mean, I don't know. So it's kind of cool. I think we were number 1 in that poll last week. So we went on the road and lost 2 games, even though they were out of region. Obviously, we slipped back. I don't know how they calculate that, but obviously we slipped back 2 spots. But I think it's good. And obviously it's early days, but when you look at it, it's a quarter of the season done. We play 28 regular season games, so we played 7, so quarter of the season's done. So we play, get into this Christmas thing. We play 4 games in this month, and then we're full on into the conference schedule. So it's things moving along pretty quickly, and it's nice to get the ranking.
All right, Haley Lepeo now 2nd on all-time scoring list after 2 games of the season, 1,481 for her career, 310 off Tanique Frazier's all-time record. Samantha Creed, leading scorer, 20.4 points a game. And those are just some of the numbers. Big game coming up on Saturday. Quickly you talked a little bit earlier about Anderson, but obviously a good team.
They're a good team. I mean, they're 3-0 in the conference. I think they're 4-1 or 5-1 overall.
I think so.
Like you said, in the Co-Sider poll, they're number 8. So, I mean, they're a good basketball team. The point guard is a senior. She's really experienced. She's a kid I recruited here and missed out on, and she's turned into a really good player. South Carolina kid. They've got, like I said, 2 kids on the wing that can really shoot the ball. They're not overly big, but they have, athletic, long kind of 4s and 5s that can do a bunch of things. And they're really well coached. They kind of press a little bit and play. They'll probably play some zone, and and then offensively they run a lot of sets and they make you guard them for a long period of time. And as soon as you leave the shooters open, they make shots. So it's definitely going to be a challenge. We'll have to play real well to beat them, but we're looking forward to it.
We are too. We'll see you there, Coach. Thanks so much.
Thanks, mate.
All right, 2 o'clock on Saturday. The ladies taking on Anderson, so we'll look forward to that at that tip-off on